Do you know these three people who are leading the MPP today in Ghana, the minority, all these three people were on the board of ECG? Yeah. Crime now moving in our ECG. From the board now, I'm taking that decision now, mo cables, mo lights, mo bibiano. These three people who are leading the MPP today in Parliament, all these three people were on the board of ECG. Time my issue when you know AS, another was on the board, Afenyomakin was on the board, and Habib Idrisu, the minority chief whip, he was also on the board. It is a minority in Parliament. If they have refused to speak on this ECG matter, then it means they are front. They know the three of them, they can all end up in jail. Now let's go back and I'm show how they did the plan and why they are quiet. These are dangerous people. You never listen to MPP or anybody speaking for MPP because you see, party is a disease. Now let's go back. You're starting free. You see, in 2022, Chenye, Napo, in 2022, Napo was the energy minister. Me chira baby a plan free. Mamim biem. In 2022, Napo was the energy minister. The deputy energy minister na Ejapa Mesa. And the second deputy, near friend Williams Owusu Edu. Now, when you go to ECG board, Tamana Napo energy minister na, it was Kelly Gajepo. The MD of ECG was Dubik Mahama. And then Anodompre was a board member of ECG in 2022. Did you know? Yeah. Anodompre today is the minority leader. Deputy minority leader in Parliament for the MPP. He is deputy to Afenyomakin. So in 2022, I want to say another prayer ECG in press conference. The front of the NPP, they have moved away from that conversation is because they were the ones who orchestrated the crime. In 2022, another prayer was sitting on the board of ECG. All the decisions that were being taken, another prayer was part of it. And you do not think, say, NPP, Afenyomakin quickly coming out to tell you, say, Ghanaians, let us all solve the ECG problem as a nationalistic thing. They are the ones who did the damage. They are the ones who connived and teamed up our ECG boss and ECG to destroy a ECG. Intusha, Napo, Energy Minister, 2022. Ejapa Mesa, Deputy Energy Minister, and Mr. Edu, Second Deputy. Now, but ECG boss na Kelly Gajepo, na Dubik Mahama as the MD of ECG, and Anodompre. Now, here. Now, when you come to 2023, something happened. In 2023, changes were made. Remember, this is the same group. And the Omokacho said Dumusaba Monso Kaniano, Mamen Chamo. Savi de Nabuko Uno, a in Sawadu Gino. Sanyo Mani another Predia. He stole it from ECG. Because he was on the board of ECG. Yeah. 2023. In the year 2023, Nanapo and a energy minister. And na Omuchenji Ejapa Mesa. And normally obi a friend Herbert Krapper ebe share as deputy. Remember, 2022, Ejapa Mesa was the deputy to Napo. Omoba 2023 no, and Omuchenji Ejapa Mesa and normally Krapper ebe share and they maintained the second deputy minister Edu as energy ministry. In Napo state, they changed Ejapa Mesa and normally Krapper Herbert Krapper be share and omu maintaining second deputy energy minister. Now, about ECG in 2023, did anything happen? In 2023, Kelly Gajepo was still there. Herbert Dubik Mahama was still there as the MD. Anodompre in 2023 was still a member of the ECG board. Or a criminal guy. And it just only say ECG as some Wakebi. That is why they have moved. That is why they don't want that conversation to go on. That is why today you don't see them having press conferences to be demanding ECG containers na irano, because poles and cables na a women fire. And you see, it's so interesting, say, it is the leadership of the minority today. They were the people who were sitting on the board of ECG. Now, when Ejapa was taken out, Ayade Herbert Krapa, something also happened. In 2024, Herbert Krapa, he was acting as the board chair. March 2024, Herbert Krapa na obey deputy to Napono. He became the acting board chair of ECG. Inti the same time now oya deputy to Napono, he became the acting board chair of ECG. Efrisena Keligajepo in March 2024 had resigned. Inti they brought Herbert Krapa from the ministry to be the acting board chair of ECG board. In 2024 March, na Anodompre was still on the board of ECG. Now Dubik Mahama was still in post, was still at post, because March 2024, na Dubik Mahama resigning yet. Na why not resigning? Keligajepo. Into Omo Movie Krapa, who was the deputy energy minister, they made him the acting board chair of ECG. Into Saosha. Changes now, Bano, Krapa or top, Krapa or down. He was acting as board chair and also the deputy minister in 2024 March. Team. Krapa be board chair acting when Keligajepo resigned as the board chair of ECG. It is still Anodompre is constant from 2022, 2023, 2024. Anodompre was on the board of ECG. Into all the decisions that were being taken, Anodompre was sitting in there. Napo was in there. Dubik Mahama was in there. Now Krapa abe some substitution be which is not permanent. Now Ekufuado would need a board chair for ECG because Keligajepo has resigned. Krapa is a deputy energy minister. He's acting as the board chair of ECG. Into MPP4 had to make some changes because they needed their cartels still to control ECG. So what did they do? This was in March 2024. So that time Napo MBF running mate to Edian Abozege. Napo was still the substantive energy minister. Don't get it wrong. March Napo da who is substantive energy minister. Now this is what happened. Make sure be a problem ni free. And into the MPP, they are not speaking about the ECG issue, no, because almost front are criminals. They will all go to jail. Investigations are still ongoing. That is why they are mute. Now, I'm sure there. Now, in November, you see, in November 2024, Satana Napo Eko Okakoye running mate ama dey ama eye dey ama eye MPP ama Baumia. Inti Napo left as the energy minister. Now, what they did was that they brought Krapa back to become the substantive energy minister. And the second deputy minister, the deputy. Now, when it comes to the ECG boss, they moved Afenyo Markin to become the ECG board chair. And then this man called Kobna Ajiman Bedu, ECG MD, because November, not Dubik Mahama so resigning. Keligajepo echo March. Dubik Mahama so echo close to elections, September thereabout. They needed a new MD for ECG. Omdi Afenyo Markin Ebesheho as the board chair of ECG. They brought another person to replace Dubik Mahama. And what happens? They brought the deputy chief whip. Time na omo parliament, omo power no. Na acquire friend Habib Idrisu. Not or your majority chief whip. Not or your third to Afenyo Markin. They brought that guy to be on the board of ECG. Technically, Anodompre has been on ECG board for about 3 years. Now, you're changing Keligajepo resigning. Krapa Ako as a substantive minister because Napoko running mate. And the Afenyo Markin abeshaw. Now you ask, say, why na shame finfino? Dubik Mahama soko into yedi why na ba kwabna. Now kwamina. Now, share baby a trick in wall. The reason why you are not seeing Anodompre here and say, Afenyo Markin was the board chair of the road fund. Now, what they did was that they moved Anodompe from the ECG board to go and take over at the road fund, and they brought Afenyomakin from the road fund to be the board chair of ECG. Now, you see the trick. So, Anodompe for about 3 years has been on the board of ECG. Now, they still needed their campaign in the front, one of them to come and handle ECG board. They had to take Anodompe to substitute Afenyomakin from the road fund board for Afenyomakin to come here as a substantive board chair of ECG. Until Anodompe left around November 20. He left before the elections to go ahead the road fund. Until anything I won't say Habib Abeshaw. Until I follow what they did. It was a simple chess they were playing with you. The NPP, as we speak today, now let me show you this. Obi Obaka say, there are some people who have doubt about these people. Now you see, Anodompe joins ECG board July 30th, 2021. And almost swear Anodompe in as a board member of ECG. Ntebia, audience asama ye kano, ye can dia share Anodompe kon. No. Sa pose na muna aduejire no. Anodompe dia. Or a lot of them, Kennedy Muobi, Afenyomaki Muobi, they have stolen everything from the container. Inti, sir, Oko back to look at what actually happened now. Sir Habib and Afenyomaki, they all came into the ECG or joined the ECG board in July 2024. Sanko for me and say we are only the MPP or parliament, they are the ones who destroyed ECG. These three criminals. It's ECG problem now. Dina MPP form person mekasa omaye dino. It is Habib who is the minority chief whip, Afenyomakin who is also the minority whip, and then Anodompe who is also the minority chief whip. Onne Afenyomakin who is now the minority leader. These three people are the ones that the ECG cause a problem. That is why ECG container theft in the buy, they were saying, oh, wait there, a national issue. We should all come together and solve it. The Ben out is Anodompe aka ECG as some hubi. Have you heard him speak on it? Have you ever heard this Habib guy speak on the ECG container theft? Afenyomakin Ebeka say, oh, guys, let us all come together as a people. No. Videos now muhuno. In some kind of these people are the people who containers in our free ports. Almost setting up a company. Okay? This is when Habib Idrisu was basically evidence, no? But they are not done the actual. Okay. Habib was sworn in. Habib Denini by Napo. Habib and Afenyomakin were sworn in by Napo, the energy minister, to go sit on the ECG board in July 2024. So the MPP you are seeing right now, front, leadership, they are criminals. They are the corporates. ECG container theft now, that is why the NPP leadership, they have refused to speak on it. Investigations, they know that some of them will go to jail. And they don't even want to do press conference. Their communicators are not speaking on it. Social media, they don't want to speak on these things because the leadership may say NDC person will break MPP. I mean, good party, no. Afenyomakin is still begging behind the scenes. Afenyomakin is begging. Habib, Anodompe, Afenyomakin. These three criminals, these guys. Now, let me show you also on ECG website. They published it. Now, when you read ECG Ankasa website, what they wrote there, my man one kind. So if we saw all about Mr. Afenyomakin succeeded Mr. Krapa, who has been appointed as Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy. Mr. Krapa's elevation to his ministerial role was approved by Parliament after his nomination by President Akufo-Addo. Previously, Mr. Krapa served as the Deputy Minister for Energy. Before his new appointment, Mr. Afenyomakin chaired the Ghana Road Fund. With his transition to the ECG board, Majority Chief Whip Anodompe will assume the role of board chairman of the Ghana Road Fund. Consequently, Mr. Domprey will step down from his position on the ECG board, a role that will now be taken over by Deputy Majority Whip in Parliament, Habib Idrisu. This is on the website of ECG. I did not publish this. Inti, when you take your time and analyze the air question, the reason why the NPP as a political party are not speaking, the leadership of the NPP are not speaking on the ECG theft na air question. Sa post na mbrante nko hu ye no any cables na enane no afenyo marking and Domprey Habib Idrisu. They are the ones, these three people, these are the three criminals who want you to believe, say, oh, you know something, ECG, these are the people who did the crime. The MPP, they are despicable. Makacha mu say, when you would say no in stadium, JJ Rollins catch them Ghana for. Sanko for you, you for. Anytime you say, oh my no social media, did my time, did my hammer, time did the end this year. Me say, Tianya day, young Janian could the MPP, Chiana. Yanko to my MPP, then a yenye.